Hello again, everyone. Wisconsin Rail fan. Back with another video. Today we're going to be discussing some reconstruction and some reconfiguring on this 4x8 N scale layout that we've got here. Built this layout, I would say 2 years ago, 2 summers ago. Well, 2 summers ago if you count this past summer, because it's now December of 2021, and we built it in the summer of 2020, so it would have been technically, yes, a second summer ago. But yeah, it's Atlas. I don't know if it's code 80 or if it's code 100. I'm not sure on that for the tracks. And then we got, it's all Atlas though. We got that foam roadbed on there, and it's just a regular 4x8 wood board. As you can see, pretty much all we've got right now is just there's a little freight car. We got just these loops of track around, and it's just a 2 loop layouts that once had a yard. As you can tell, there's a yard lead and then a big interlocking area right here. So basically today what we did was, when we first built it, was we built it with flex tracks for the turns, and you can see that right, this outside track here, it's a flex track. There's no joiners until we get to right here. And the problem that you guys probably can't see that I'm going to try to show you is that at the rail, at the joints, you can just kind of see that the rail is like, it's twisted to the side. It's not like at a flush angle, because the rail worked its way out of the tie, because this layout was set down for the winter up in the garage where it was cold, and then it got hot again in the summer, and so things expanded and contracted, and as you know how science works. So yeah, that way you can just see it there in the video now. You can see it's the rail on the far right, I think. Yeah. It's not a flush cut, so that's causing the trains to derail. The other troublesome place we've got currently is over here on the other side of the layout, where we've got this short adapter piece that I had to buy in order to make this work. And as you can see here, that rail is completely loose. It's not even locked into the plastic holding spots for the rail that the ties have on them. So that rail is just sitting loose in there, and so that's causing a not a flush connection as well. So as you can see, that when the trains roll over it, if they don't push it back straight all the time, which they don't always do, then they derail. And then it's also, the gauge gets a little bit wider at the end here, so it often causes light freight cars to derail here. And then when they get to the switch, if it's derailed, as you know how that goes, going over a switch when you're derailed is never a good idea, because it'll short out the power and all that fun stuff. But yeah, right now we got that crossover not set for the main, so yeah, we got a bunch of crap on the track too to clean that up. It's on the floor in my room though, so it's just the way it goes sometimes. Also, we got some roadbed problems here too, but that probably happened. There you go, you can see it. That probably happened over during the winter as well, because that used to be perfectly and flush, and that part doesn't cause any problems though, so I'm not too worried about it. Come on, camera, refocus, please. I don't know what the hell is wrong with it right now. It's being retarded. It just doesn't want to focus. What the heck? Oh, there we go. I guess it fixed itself now. Okay. Then we got the crossover over here, which we had set not for the main because we were running trains last night. I got to relay that crossover because somewhere between this joint right there, it's not picking up power. And then as you can see, this straight section on the outside track is also a flex track that I had to cut. I actually had to line it up perfectly to match, because both loops at one point used to be flex, almost all flex track except for the straights. Even some of the straights were as well. And then when the flex track, when I realized how I wasn't very good at cutting it, because you know I'm just not like this. You can tell this layout wasn't laid by a professional. It was laid by somebody who was doing this for the very first time, and with a couple of his friends who also had never had any sort of experience cutting flex track or even laying down roadbed at all. And before this, I had HO, I had Bachman Easy Track, and my friend it was an N scaler still, and he has Kato Unitrack, which is what we both desperately wish we had used for this layout. But yeah, as you can see, some of the outside loop has been redone and rebuilt with regular straight track sections because they seem to work better. It's just that you just got to be careful because we don't have feeder wires. We only have it just wired up right there. That's the only spot. So if there's a loose connection anywhere on the layout, the train just stops because we don't have the feeders keeping the power alive. But yeah, that's currently the current situation of the layout. As you can see, there's like 6 or 7 switches right there that used to be spinning off right here. The yard used to go all the way to the side over here and then reconnect over there. And there used to be like 5 or 6 sidings. But that all stopped being used when we realized that, hey, there's only freaking one main track if something's on the yard lead, which the yard lead was right here, this inside part, but that yard lead was so short that you really couldn't do anything with it. And I was going to eventually at one point make it go back to connect to the main right about here, but then I realized that then, oh crap, you can't get back to this track until you go all the way around again, so that blew out that plan too. But eventually I'll be fixing that up so that we can. It's just that I just got to get the money. Yeah, and I guess I'll give you guys a tour of what we're using for our power, which is actually my brother's NCE Pro Cab, NCE DCC. And then he also, and then there's my there's the Power Pro additional throttle, which came with it. I have one too, but mine is currently not working. That's actually my brother's. Then we got all the cords for it, and then in here you've got the stuff for the 5 amp power booster, which is also NCE. We use NCE because Bachmann's Easy Command System is a piece of garbage, and yeah, I use Windex for tracking rail and wheel cleaner, but I don't know if that's really good. It seems to work. I mean, I haven't bought the regular track cleaner stuff. So basically, that's the tour of the layout. The only engine that I actually currently own is this little guy right here, and as you can see, his fuel tank is sitting right there. I just haven't had a chance to put it back on. But this is the Burlington Northern Santa Fe SD60M Triclops number 9D222 with DCC Atlas. So it's been running, but it's not a great runner because Atlas SD60, SD50 trucks were just not great. They make a lot of grinding noises, and it's also been having some issues with picking up the power. But over at Southside Trains, if you know where that is, if you're in the Milwaukee area, you might want to go stop in over there. Yeah, Jeff and my brother actually works there now too. Yeah, this is a beaut of a unit though. Nice job by Atlas on how they designed that. It looks great. It looks just really great. It just does with the SD60M right there. You can read it on the side there. The BNSF patch job, basically showing that this was a post-merger unit, even though it was bought by Burlington Northern, obviously, before the merge. It's pretty detailed. Well, not really, but you know, it's okay for N scale. HO scale, that level of detail would never be acceptable. But yeah. And that's a wrap, pretty much. I guess unless you guys want to try to follow on what the plan is for the replacement track here, which will be the plans for replacement include ripping up this piece of flex, this straight track right next to it here, and replacing both with replace the straight track with another regular, I think it's 5-inch straight, and then we'll be replacing, and obviously we tried ballasting. You can see that didn't work out very well. It looks okay, but we got to do it a little bit more and find out how to do it right. Do we plan on replacing the flex track turn with a couple of straight tracks, 5-inch straights, and then these Atlas curve track sections? I'm gonna have to be doing some possibly a little bit more cutting of the tracks pieces because it has to match up perfectly, and I don't actually know. It's very close based on my calculations when I built this. It should be very close to the proper dimension, but we don't know for sure. As you can see though, the flex track does meet exactly where the regular track pieces do, so that means I did pretty well. All the way down here where there used to be double flex tracks, when you connect to the switch there, it's perfectly lined up with the other joint. And then when you get to the other side of the switch, it's also very, very close. As you can see, we did have to use a couple of the adapter pieces to cover the little bit of space that we missed. And then, yeah. The other side over here, this was a flex. This outside turn is a flex. Then you've got another flex over here, but this flex might get to stay because this one hasn't caused any problems yet. It's a little loose right there, so I'm going to be re-nailing those, probably adding a couple of nails just to keep it a little tighter, but this is a pretty decent layout for the first time I ever laid any tracks like this in my whole life. It's a pretty decent job. It's just that I was a beginner, so I mean, you couldn't expect me to do that much better. It ran very, very well when we first built it. It's just that with the contracting and expanding of the metal and the other parts over the winter, and then going into the summer again, and then into the winter again, before we moved it into this room, it really took its toll on the components. And sadly, the snug joints that we made expanded somewhat and then contracted, and it bent some rail joiners, and I already had to do a bunch of replacement work on some of it. But that's okay, because we're going to be doing that again later, as it is, because I don't really have a choice, because the trains are derailing, and if we want to have a working layout, we can't have track that's bad. So I guess right now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be ripping off that flex piece that's right in this angle right here, sorry about that, and replacing it with the regular tracks in just a bit when I find a pliers to pull out the nail, and then we should be good. So yeah, thanks for watching, coming to the layout tour, I guess. I didn't run any trains today because obviously the track didn't get cleaned yet, and because of the fact that the trains kind of can't run right now. So yeah, but thanks for watching, and stay tuned because I will be providing updates on this as we work forward and move forward in building this layout and turning it into what is hopefully going to be a masterpiece that that I will take when I move out to my apartment, and then from there I'll be adding on to it, and we'll be running even more trains. So I look forward to seeing that happen, and we'll see you guys in the next video.